About 1:30 this morning, the Smith County Sheriff's Office dispatch received a call through a third party that her daughter was in distress, along with a 2-year-old daughter and a 6-week-old daughter, I believe. The boyfriend was trying to break in the house. He was trying to break in a window. She had locked herself in the bedroom. It was unclear at that time whose jurisdiction it was in because the call came in. It's close to the Lindale School. We don't have any Lindale schools out in the county. So it took a while after it was sent back to dispatch at Lindale, came back to us that they had determined a county road and a block of that county road is in, which is in the county. At that time, Lindale Police Department was dispatched as a backup for our units. They actually arrived about 4 minutes prior to our units arriving. And at that time, they talked to the female of the residents who had gotten out. The actor was still in there with the 2-year-old, I believe, at that time. Once our units arrive at about, I believe, 1:43, 1:45, they had received radio traffic at 1:43 that this person was known to carry a firearm, but unknown if he had a firearm at that time. Well, they started trying to negotiate with him to come out of the residence. Apparently, he finally came out, but he had a pistol in his hand. And they tried to negotiate with him for a minute, and it went south, and our officers did what they needed to do, unfortunately what they had to do. And as our normal protocol, when a situation like this arises, and we have something where our officer is involved in an officer-involved shooting, we use a disinterested third party to investigate that. And in our case, it's always the Rangers. So Ranger Lieutenant Nick Castle and 2 additional Rangers came out, and we shadowed them. Our crime scene shadowed them. We took care of our officer that was involved in the shooting and anybody else that had to be involved. There were some life-saving measures that were used to try to revive the person that was shot, and it was one of our fairly new deputies that was involved in that. So there's always a little trauma involved in a situation like that. We're going to make sure that she's okay, and our deputy that did the shooting is okay. He's on administrative leave right now, which is also a part of our protocol until he sees a psychologist or a counselor and answers all the right questions. He'll be off, and also until the investigation gets to a point where we can tell there was no wrongdoing. I see nothing. I went out there myself at 2 o'clock this morning. I see nothing to say otherwise. I haven't looked at the body cam video, but I have talked to everybody on the scene there, and so I don't look for anything to happen. The person was deceased upon arrival at UT Maine. Judge Precinct 4, Mitch Schamberger, held an inquest and ordered an autopsy, which should be performed today. But I understand he was already in trauma surgery at the time. So, and that's about it. I'll entertain any questions at this time.
I'll start over here, Sheriff. You say that it went south. What did he do to cause that? What was he doing?
He had a pistol in his hand.
And did he point it at any of your...
I don't know that now. We stopped, let the Rangers investigate. But I will tell you, in a situation like that where you have somebody that's taken a bunch of pills, which he was reported to have done, apparently having some kind of mental breakdown or induced by the medication he was overtaking, by the time that somebody has a gun in their hand and wants to do you harm, there's nothing you do to stop it. I don't care if you got your finger on the trigger. You do not have enough time. When you shoot somebody, it's not like on TV. They don't just fall down. That's not the way it works.
Do we know when the names are going to be released, or they're going to be released?
I'll check with Lieutenant Castle. It's probably going to be in the morning, I would guess, because they were out all late last night just as I was, and I'm sure they're getting some rest now, and we'll continue.
Tomorrow morning?
Yes, hopefully sometime tomorrow morning.
Did the man have bullets in the pistol?
I didn't look at it. Again, we turned it over to the Rangers, but let me ask you a question. If I'm looking at you, you got a gun in your hand, am I going to wait to see if you got bullets in it? Okay.
Sheriff, do we...
I would rather be going home that night to my family than wondering if he had bullets in it. Because if you have somebody reacts to that, they've reacted too late, and they're going to be the victim. And I would rather my people be the person that's on the other side instead of being the victim in a righteous shooting any day of the week.
Sheriff, do we know if there have been any prior encounters with this man before? If there have been any calls to this residence concerning this man?
That was in the process of being checked on when I left this morning, about 6 o'clock. I'll just have to check on that, and I'll give it to you when we get the name and everything. But it's going to be limited to what I have or what I can release, because it is a third party investigating it now, and I don't want to step on their turf.
But the woman was able to make it out safely. Was she able to take her child with her?
She had her
to
6-week-old child with her, but the 2-year-old at the time the deputies got there was still in the house.
And condition-wise now for the other occupants of that residence, they're all okay as a result?
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
How is the officer that shot the suspect handling this?
He's doing as well as you could expect for him to be doing under that situation, taking somebody's life. Nobody ever wants to be put in that position. I've come close many times in my 46 years, but it's never happened. But I can only imagine the stress he's going through. And but we're providing any kind of care we can for him and his family, and his co-workers that were out there, including Lindale PD as well.
You said that, what time did that call come in initially?
Initially, it came in when it was handed to Lindale, I believe at 1:30. And then 1:43, it came back to us, if my numbers are right, because they talked to Lindale. Because it first came in, just to be clear, it first came in as being by a Lindale school. We don't have any unincorporated county close to any Lindale school that I know of. Not really close proximity. So it was, the dispatcher did what they should have done. They sent it to Lindale. That's what happens when you have a third-party conversation going on. We have text 911 now. You know, she could have just as easily texted our dispatcher than texting her mother to tell us what's going on. Anytime you talk to more people, it gets convoluted. And I'm not bashing her or anything. I mean, it turned out well for her, but we always would rather speak directly to somebody that's on scene if we can. And again, as far as I know, text 911 is active now.
How long did deputies speak to him or try to get him to come out before they had opened
It was
fire?
less than 10 minutes. And again, I don't have the privilege of being able to, I wasn't going to talk to him and contaminate what he's going to be interviewed by the Rangers. I didn't want to, that air about the situation. And so I didn't do that. I make it a point not to do that. I find out if they're okay, do they need anything, does their family need anything? And that's my purpose for being there is to support them.
What about the family or relatives from the guy that was shot and killed?
I know there was one that was on scene when I got there. I got there a little after 2. When I got there, I had them move the barricades back and had everybody go in their residence and move it back. It was too close to where the scene happened. And that helped everything because we didn't want any scuffling or anything going on because, you know, you never know what a family member is going to do. You don't know these people. So we moved them back, and the Rangers got there fairly quickly and we assisted them or shadowed them, helping them do the crime scene photographs and things of that nature. That it is what it is. You can't change. You know, it's not doing the interviews and things of that nature.
Do you know how they're handling the situation, or have they filed any complaint about what happened?
About what happened?
Yeah.
It's a little too early for that. I mean, they would have had to have an attorney ready to go, but not to my knowledge. Now, will they? Who knows? But in a situation like that, we always usually get pre-claims assistance with an attorney and to protect the county and the taxpayer. And we'll be using an attorney. I've already checked with our civil attorney to get pre-claims assistance should they file a lawsuit. But, you know, it wouldn't be the first time we've been sued. And unfortunately, anybody can file a suit on anything they want to, just about. So we feel comfortable in the right thing coming out should they do that.
Sheriff, I do think it's important that you brought up text to 911.
Mhm.
I just want to jump on that again real quick. Do you think text to 911 would have saved more time, would have gotten y'all out there quicker if that would have happened?
What I would like to think is if we had our dispatcher who's trained in situations like that, not to be talking to a third party, but speaking directly, they could rapidly ask the same question, the right questions back and forth, and get the answers in a timely manner, rather than going through a third party that is upset. It's her mother. You know, who knows what kind of frame of mind she's in. So it's always best for us to talk to who's on scene, either by text or by voice. Thank y'all.